Peace, peace. It's Gula Ra, and today wanted to do a video on this here. This feather is the message that I'm going to be speaking upon. Real quick. So upon finding that feather, let me go kind of backtrack and kind of go back on how I stumbled across the feather. One day I was just sitting in my room reading some books, listening to music on YouTube, and I have this dog, Simba, right? And Simba is the type of dog where he's very chill, but he's very alert, and he always let us know when there's movement outside. Basically alert. He's good at alarming us about things. So this particular day, I was in my room. He came in, he circled around, and then he just flopped on the ground, and I know I noticed it, but I kind of brushed it off and continued to keep reading. But he left out, and he did this about 3 times. So I said, okay, maybe he want to go outside. What I'm saying, to use the bathroom. So I went, put on my shoes, and I went outside, to take him to the bathroom. So when I was going out, I noticed that how he was almost leading me away, right? And normally when I walk him, he always walk on the side of me, but this particular time he was leading, like he was forcing to lead the way, right? So I let him go ahead, and as I was walking around the perimeter where I live at, I came across this feather. So a lot of times messages come through feathers, right? And I normally find different types of form of feathers, but the one that I found was a bit different than one that I normally stumble across. So came home, cleansed it, put it on my altar, right? So I let it stay there for a few days. Can't remember how long it was up there, a few days. And I ended up, one day I was just going through some things, and I just wanted to go into meditation to calm the mind. And I got the feather, had it in my hand, and I put it in my lap. So when I put it in my lap, and went into meditation, all of a sudden, I see myself sitting in this house. I was sitting in this house on the sofa, and the front door was open. And then as I was looking out the front door, it looked like it could have been dusk. You have different times during the day. You have day, midday, then you have dusk, just before it get ready to be nighttime. And as I was looking out there, the place was familiar. It was a place that I grew up in my childhood, but it was also a place that my great great grandparents lived. And when I looked to my left side of me, Simba, he was in a dream, and he was also observing and looking outside as well. But for some reason, I felt this presence that was getting ready to enter into the home, right? And then at the same time, it felt like a fear of being overwhelmed. And when I had this feeling, Simba could have felt my aura or the energy that I would off his instant. He went into guard mode, so he stood up and his tail was erect, and he was ready to basically attack whatever that was going to come in. So from there, I woke up out of the meditation, and what was left with me was a place that I grew up in my past, and it was associated with my great great grandparents. So the message out of that pretty much ties in to this feather, finding light in the shadow of darkness. So few more weeks from now, we're getting ready to go into fall season, which we're getting ready to go. The sun is getting ready to make it stop in the eighth house. Anybody, if you're familiar with the eighth house, it deals with ancestors, deals with inheritance, it deals with things that are hidden, right? And in that meditation, my dog Simba, represent an aspect of Anubis. If you know anything about Anubis is the lord of the underworld. That the souls that been in the physical world go into the spiritual world, in the underworld, basically the afterlife. And they have to get their heart weighed on a feather, right? And when their heart has to be weighed on a feather, depending on if their heart is heavier than the feather, then that means that they basically will be eaten by Emmet, and basically got to come back into this physical realm. And if their heart is lighter than the feather, something like that, right? then they're able to go back into the ancestral realm. Okay? Now, out of that particular situation of that symbology of the dog, the feather, and the home, let me know that a lot of us have to prepare to deal with the shadow of darkness. Okay? Even sometimes in life, even though everything, the sky may be sunny, but you may feel as though you're in your darkest days of your life. And a lot of times when you start having those feelings, those are spirits or circumstances is petitioning you to deal with the things that are hitting, doing the shadow work, right? And out of the message of the dog representing the aspect of Anubis, lets you know a lot of times in life you have to face things head on, or not being hesitant on moving and approaching something that you fear, right? When you think about birds, or I want to say this is a falcon, but then it also look like an owl feather. But when you're dealing with, when you think about owls, they say that owls are the hunters of the night, right? They're able to see in darkness. So when somebody have the ability to see in darkness, they can see everything that is hidden, right? And yeah, owls are the hunters of the night. They're able to see things that are hidden. So a lot of times in our life, the things that we hide, things that we lock in our unconscious or subconscious mind, is getting ready to, things are getting ready to shine light in those things. And in that process of getting ready to go into the fall season, the sun is going to be going soon into the 8th house. We have to deal with a lot of circumstances and things that we've been faced with, childhood or traumas. And a lot of times when you have to be placed in the hidden realms of darkness, you have to be able to deal with those things. Okay? And it's just a really quick message that Spirit Show was telling me about dealing with the shadow realm and dealing with the things that's in the dark, knowing that you're the light, but sometimes you have to go into darkness to see, to expose things that you haven't, haven't have the courage to deal with. So, this is just a real quick video just speaking about finding light in the shadow of darkness. For a lot of those who trying to find out how to deal with the things of darkness, a lot of times there are different, really just sitting with self and really going into meditation. And really, if you have parents, asking them about your ancestral lineage, or asking about things of the family that's hidden and not necessarily being talked about. There's many different things you can ask, but then in your own time and on your silent time, this is a great time to actually deal with the things that are hidden. Shadow work. A lot of times people say, "Oh, I'm doing my shadow work," and there's no manual for doing shadow work. There is a manual, but there's no, okay, I gotta do this. There's still like a bulletin. Okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do this, I gotta check this, I gotta check this. When you're really doing a lot, and a lot of times people don't talk about shadow work. You know what I'm saying? They don't really like to go in detail, because when you're really doing shadow work, you have to deal with the lineage of your ancestors, the forefathers. And also even go farther than that, you have 13 bloodlines that you have to deal with. And going into those realms of doing your shadow work, it brings up a lot of things of your forefathers, the sins of the forefathers may have done. And you have to deal with those situations, and you have to be the patriarch of your family or the ambassador of your family to deal with those things, okay? But again, when you're dealing with shadow work is a forever journey. It's a lifetime thing, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of times when you do shadow work, you may work on a situation and you resolved it, and then whatever that particular problem was, dissipate. But then there are times with the same, whatever issue that you had in the past, will revisit you just to see if you really truly worked on those issues. So in this message that I'm giving, talking about the light and the shadow of darkness, this is really a time for many of us to really start preparing ourselves to dealing with, our ancestry, or the things that we fear, the things that we avoid. And a lot of times spirits will petition you or get you prepared for these times ahead, and it's very important that you take consideration in doing this work. There's many ways of doing shadow work or looking within yourself. Giving a good example of an exercise you can do when doing shadow work or looking into the realms of the underworld is the fact that if you have a mirror, you can get a mirror. The one, it's like a long one where you have your whole physical body. You can get a mirror, you want to cleanse it, Windex, whatever you have, and you want to basically cleanse it, right? And you can also put sigils or the archangels on the four corners of that mirror, right? You want to take a spiritual bath, whatever you have. You can use baking soda, sea salt, or whatever you have. You want to do that. When you do that, you want to, cleanse your room as well. And when you do that, you want to get that mirror, place it where it's able to stand erect. You want to be butt naked, right? And you want to get a chime candle. I call it a penny candle, like the white candle. You want to anoint it, you want to light it, and you want to put that candle in front of the mirror, right? And when you do this, you want to basically focus in the flame. And you want to focus into the flame for at least, the flame in the mirror for at least 10 to 15 minutes. The more you do it, the mirror almost feels as though it's moving and it's shaking. And it's almost as if your physical self will actually not being able to be reflective. This is actually opening up your meditative state or your pineal gland. And the more you're able to focus, sometimes you may start to feel drowsy. When you do this, you want to kind of alert yourself again. If you have Florida water, you want to actually wipe your forehead, your neck, the back of your neck, basically to get you back to center yourself. And you want to keep doing this to after a while, when you're looking into it, you will start seeing images. And in the process of doing that for a various of time, things will be revealed to you. But it also tap into the other realms or the subconscious mind and pulling those things so it can reflect within you. You know what I'm saying? Even when you think about Michael Jackson, I'm staring at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. It's an aspect of talking about doing the shadow work, going into the realms of darkness, knowing that you are the light going into the realms of darkness. Even when you think about the movie Hellraiser, you know what I'm saying, where they had the Rubik's Cube. I don't know what it is, but basically opening up the doors of the underworld and dealing with yourself and being approached by the very adversary or the very your hidden dark self, and basically being introduced with your own self. This is the things that truly happens when you're doing shadow work. And when you're doing the shadow work, once you do it in its completion, you become alliance with your own shadows. Maybe demon. It may be aspect in your ancestry lineage that you need to deal with. You make alliance with them or whatever, right? And again, that particular exercise that I'm talking about will actually help you tap into those realms of doing your shadow work or going light in the shadow of darkness. Now, For those of you who have dogs, you know, dog lovers, another thing that you can do, you can actually start working with Anubis, working with his energy. Some people who have like the statue or whatever, they say that to get in contact with Anubis, you will actually rub the ears, and that actually petition him to come forward. But also, if you are truly a dog lover, you can actually, feed your dog, you can speak to it, and when you're petting your dog, you can actually rub the ears, you know what I'm saying, from the base of it to the tips, and rub his ears. And your dog can actually be a protection mechanism to lead you into the underworld, okay? Dealing with your shadow self, dealing with the work that's you need to do, right? So this is just a video that I wanted to share on talking about the light and the shadow of darkness. And be prepared in the weeks to come that many of us will have to deal with our hidden self, okay? This is a short video on talking about finding light in the shadow of darkness. So hopefully, if you were struggling with the aspect of feeling like you're in darkness, a lot of times you have to go into darkness, or you have to be consumed by darkness to come into light. Okay, so this is a quick video on talking about